So day 29 with Dorado, and this is our second time using saddle. So I'm working on using the pad on and off, gave him the introduction with it, gave him a cookie. I'm just going to kind of flop it around a little bit, give him a reward, again to create that positive association. And that's pretty good. Now I'm going to put the saddle on. He handled that really well with the stirrup kind of flipping over on his side. And then I give him another cookie. And I'm preparing him for the girth. Handled that pretty well. And he's allowing me to use the girth. I just want him to step forward so I can get it in the right spot. Then I asked him to walk forward. Walked forward okay. And I put a little bit to trot. And there goes the Dorado buck. And the good thing was that he stopped. It was much better than he was yesterday. And this is actually pretty fun to be a part of because he's starting to kind of think it through a little bit. So he reacted to it, and then I got him to kind of think a little bit. I was trying to stay out of his way, but trying to get his attention a little bit. And now he's trying to figure it out how to go forward. No, he wants to go the other way, so I'm going to direct him the other way. See, my feet aren't moving. I'm going to stay calm. Now he's walking off much better. He did the same thing yesterday just for a longer period of time, and then he never did it again. So you can see now that he's kind of learning and trying to figure out how to work it out. And so the saddle slipped back a little bit. So I took it off, readjusted it, and brought in a breastplate to help to make sure it doesn't slip. It doesn't cause any issues. This is the first time for him to wear a breastplate as well, which he seemed to handle that pretty well. Now he's walking off much better. Again, he walks off fine. It's not until he picks up the trot to where he kind of feels that pressure on his back, and then he doesn't quite know how to handle it. So I've got to teach him how to work through and not get so stiff and tense. If I can teach him to get relaxed and to stay supple, then that tension and the bucking will go away. But I have to do a lot of prep work because that is more than likely to happen once I'm on. While he's fine with me riding him at the walk bareback, I know that that kind of little kink is in there, so we're going to make sure he has lots of tools, and as do I, to teach him how to stay relaxed and confident. Right now I'm just going through, giving him a pat, making the sounds on the saddle. Now I like to use the Western saddle. It gives them a fair amount of weight on their back. There's a lot of things on there. It's really good for a young horse to learn to accept. Yes, I'm an English rider, but I use the Western saddle in the English and my dressage saddle, so you want your horse able to wear anything and it not be an issue. So, worked on moving his feet around. Now I'm going to be putting my knee in there, again putting that pressure on the side of his belly. And changing to the other side. This time I go up a little higher, getting that saddle to move around. Give him a good rub. Again, it was really interesting when he started to buck because he went to react and then he kind of stopped and looked at me as like, what do I do? So it was, like I said, really fun to be a part of that process of him starting to think it through. So now I was getting up and down, jumping in the stirrup. We're just going to do a little bit more body work. Getting him to yield that shoulder, which that's getting really nice. Give him a rub. Now we're going to switch sides and get that crossover of that right front over the left. Again, really good. Now I'm going to ask him to back. He's just a little sticky backing up. That's okay. And just keep asking, keep giving him little bumps on the halter, then give him a rub when he does it. So now I've moved him out into my big arena, so again I can get him to kind of walk, trot, canter, or really move around, move forward with the saddle. You're going to see he's going to try a little bit of that drift there because I've got the gate open. And so he's going to try to do his shoulder. I'm going to put pressure, a lot of pressure right there at the gate. And he's going to do it again. More pressure with the rope. He's getting much stronger in his canter. He's got some pretty good flying lead changes. That's good to know. I'm just going to keep on telling him to go. Now that time he didn't go towards the gate, and I'm going to reward him with a stop. That was really good. Now we're going to go to the right. So now he's cross cantering, which you'll notice. So he's on the right lead in the front and the left lead on the back end. So I kind of tossed the rope to see if I could get him to change, and he did. He caught up. So now he's on the correct right lead. I asked him to trot with just the sound of my voice, and then asked him to canter, so those transitions are getting really good. And then I asked him to whoa. That was a really good session. So when he was really good, I just try to keep it nice and short and had a good positive day. Go back to ending on giving some rubs and looking forward to the next day. I was also able to get a massage from my good friend Amanda, who she's worked with several of my Mustangs. So you probably saw in the beginning, Dorado was a little guarded. He kind of like didn't know quite what she was doing. But again, Amanda has experience working with a lot of my Mustangs, and so she has a good feel for their energy. She works a lot with the fascia. The fascia is this webby type of material that covers our whole body. And so anytime that gets any type of kinks in it, that can cause the muscles to tighten. He, of course, had some, he was stuck in some parts of his body. So his sternum was stuck and had some other spots throughout his body. So I think it's really important to have the body work done. To help the horses along through the training. And so it was really important. And he did really good considering kind of how he was with new people. He allowed her to touch in spaces. So I was really happy with how he handled it. You see he's feeling very comfortable now. That's when she was working on his sternum. And then when things started to shift, he started to get a little uncomfortable. But you'll see as they start to release, you'll get that lick and chew. Sometimes they'll take the deep breath, and then when they're really like letting the stress go and their body starts to release the tension, you'll get the eye, like their eyes will blink, and then you'll get big yawns, which is really good. And it's really fun to see kind of how your horse can change. So now she's working on part SI. Saw him take a deep breath. And then he kind of needed a minute for her to step away so he could start to process. And so again, you'll see like lots of licks and chews, and he takes a deep breath and drops his head. Again, I find this a very valuable tool in adding in the training of my horses to make sure they're comfortable in doing their work and I can get their bodies feeling really good. And Dorado had a really great first session and seemed to really enjoy having his massage. On it some more. There's another one.